Hey y'all. So I know I haven't been on TikTok for a few days. I deleted the TikTok app off my phone for a few days, had to re-download it back to post this message. But the truth is I have a lot of support in the followers that I have, and I just wanted you guys to know that I love you guys. Just because I'm taking a little bit of like private time for myself and my family, that doesn't mean that I don't care about y'all and care about the support and the love that y'all have given me. I'm not tripping over the emails. I was in my 20s. I mean, how would everybody else feel if their personal diary was released to the public? Like, I'm sure we've all done embarrassing things that we regret, but like I said, I was in my 20s. I'm not the same like I was back then.
So Gypsy posted again on TikTok, and it's funny. She's like, oh, I don't worry about those emails because, like, I was so much younger in those emails. I was like 20. First of all, the emails that I saw are from the end of 2023. They're literally from 1.5 years ago. She's acting like it's from, like, oh, I wrote those emails back in, like, 2005. No, it was a year and a half ago. You weren't 20. You were literally, like, 30. No judgment, I'm just saying.
The Gypsy Rose Blanchard drama just took a jaw-dropping turn that has the internet gagged, and not in a cute way. You thought her post-prison glow-up was giving healing queen energy? Think again, because the leaked prison emails just cracked open a secret side of Gypsy that nobody was ready for. We're talking betrayal, lies, manipulation, and a whole lot of kinky receipts that are completely destroying the carefully curated image she's been selling since the moment she walked out of those prison gates in heels and a fresh blowout. So, picture this, Gypsy, the internet's misunderstood darling, was finally free, doing her little TikToks, talking about trauma, growth, and her new peaceful family life. Fans were eating it up. She was rebranding like a pro, turning her tragic past into a full-blown influencer journey. But then, boom. Emails from 2023 leak. Not 2013, not the MySpace days. 2023. While she was still in prison, while she was supposedly turning her life around. And baby, they weren't just cringy old love letters. They were dark. Like, eyebrow-raising, neck-snapping, wait, what kind of dark? These messages revealed an entirely different Gypsy, one who was not just complicit but active in manipulation, sexually charged power dynamics, and calculated emotional games. And forget the "I was young and brainwashed" narrative. This wasn't some lost little girl trying to find herself. This was a grown woman, typing out graphic BDSM fantasies with zero signs of hesitation. No coercion. No trauma response. Just full, enthusiastic detail. It was giving dominatrix diary, not trauma survivor confession. And just when the internet started to implode over the leak, Gypsy showed up in a new video looking like she just stepped off a wellness retreat. Calm voice, fresh face, whole, I've been focusing on my healing journey aesthetic. She claimed she deleted TikTok to center herself, to spend time with her daughter, to be grounded.
Hey y'all. So I know I haven't been on TikTok for a few days. I deleted the TikTok app off my phone for a few days, had to re-download it back to post this message. But the truth is I have a lot of support in the followers that I have, and I just wanted you guys to know that I love you guys. Just because I'm taking a little bit of like private time for myself and my family, that doesn't mean that I don't care about y'all and care about the support and the love that y'all have given me, and I greatly appreciate it. Because I haven't been on the app for a few days, I'm kind of out of the loop about a lot of the drama that's going on in the Gypverse. But what I will say is that whatever drama is going on, I'm not affected by it.
She was out here talking about a real life and detoxing from the noise. But people immediately clocked something was off. Because during this so-called mental health break, she wasn't just sipping tea and journaling, she was deleting videos, quietly, sneakily, scrubbing her TikTok clean of content that could make her look bad. Fans felt played. Like, was this a genuine detox or a preemptive cleanup before the tea got spilled? Then the real twist hit. In the same video where she pretended to be blissfully unaware of the chaos, Gypsy suddenly brought up the leaked emails.
I'm not tripping over the emails. I was in my 20s. I mean, how would everybody else feel if their personal diary was released to the public? Like, I'm sure we've all done embarrassing things that we regret, but like I said, I was in my 20s. I'm not the same like I was back then. I did some stupid stuff, yes. Do I do stupid stuff now? Yes. But it's all about growth, it's about learning, it's about maturing, and maturing takes time, and that's what I'm doing for myself. I'm growing, and I'm doing what's right for me. So, thank you for all of y'all's support. I love you guys.
She tried to play it chill, acting like they weren't that deep. She compared them to personal diary entries, you know, like they were sacred, raw thoughts never meant for the public eye. But girl, let's not play dumb. These weren't secret notes locked in a Hello Kitty journal. These were full-on typed messages sent to people, some through monitored platforms. The private diary excuse? That wasn't just reaching, it was dragging the narrative into full manipulation territory. She wanted people to feel bad for her, to see her as violated. She tried to spin the story so the focus wasn't on what she said, but on how it got out. Classic misdirection. She leaned all the way into the victim card, tossing in lines like, "Everyone does dumb stuff when they're young, and I'm still learning."
I'm not tripping over the emails. I was in my 20s.
Liar.
I mean, how would everybody else feel if their personal diary was released to the public? Like, I'm sure we've all done embarrassing things that we regret, but like I said, I was in my 20s. I'm not the same like I was back.
Gypsy is lying her fucking ass off. In that video, she tried to claim she's just taking a social media break, spending time with her family, and she bust out with, I'm not worried about the emails. Girl, yes you are, and that's why you've been so quiet. You were not in your 20s. These messages were going out in 2023, months before you were getting out. Trying to act like, I was in my 20s to make this shit okay is insane. Nobody cares that you were writing people, by the way. It's that you were still doing the BDSM shit that you claim that Nick forced you to do. You had always been into this shit. You never wanted to admit it, so you pushed all of it on to Nick. I'm sorry, claiming you were in your 20s, early 30s. Ma'am, you were born in 1991. In 2023, ma'am, you were like 32, 33 years old, ma'am. And that was only 2 fucking years ago, Gypsy. Here's the issue. You think people are fucked up about you writing people. When no, it's that there is a pattern through your messages with Dan, with Nick, all these fucking strangers you were emailing. And one thing is apparent. Gypsy Rose Blanchard enjoys the BDSM roleplay shit. It wasn't something just forced on her by her co-defendant, Nick Godejohn. This is something Gypsy likes to do. These messages that just further prove that Gypsy is willing to make Nick look worse to be the victim by any means necessary. Bringing up how anybody else would feel if their personal diary was leaked. Gypsy Rose, you didn't think about that when you and Dawn were putting out all Nick's messages, but I guess it only matters when it's Gypsy's messages being leaked, right? Because Nick's the only bad guy, right, Gypsy? Yeah.
But these weren't teenage blunders. These were deeply unsettling messages from last year. There was no loopsa here, this was a window into a mind that knew exactly what it was doing. And let's not forget, Gypsy has always claimed she was forced into BDSM and that her ex, Nick Godejohn, groomed her into that world. That's been her defense for years. But these emails? Completely destroyed that version of events. There was no pressure. No grooming. In fact, she was the one initiating the fantasies. The roles, the scenarios, she was running the show. And the way she described everything? Babe, it was vivid. Like, she was clearly enjoying herself. This wasn't a scared girl trying to survive. This was a woman indulging in a lifestyle she publicly swore she had no control over. Then came the Instagram-worthy comment pinned under her video, that was years ago. My family and I are stronger than ever. Like she was closing a chapter in some Netflix docuseries. She was trying so hard to wrap everything up in a cute little, we're thriving, bow. But people weren't buying it. Because this isn't about a scandal from the past. This is about who Gypsy is right now, and whether we've all been sipping from a fantasy she's been selling since day one. This isn't the misunderstood girl who survived abuse. This isn't the broken woman searching for healing. This is someone else entirely. Someone calculated. Someone cold. Someone who's been rewriting her own story over and over, depending on who's watching. These weren't emails from a scared teenager. These weren't relics of a dark, confused past. These were messages from 2023. Last year. From a 30-something woman, fully aware of her release date, fully aware of the eyes on her, and fully aware of the image she had been carefully constructing. And in those messages, Gypsy wasn't hesitant. She wasn't ashamed. She was comfortable. She was thriving in those digital interactions, holding power like it was second nature.
So Gypsy posted again on TikTok, and it's funny. She's like, oh, I don't worry about those emails because, like, I was so much younger in those emails. I was like 20. First of all, the emails that I saw are from the end of 2023. They're literally from 1.5 years ago. She's acting like it's from, like, oh, I wrote those emails back in, like, 2005. No, it was a year and a half ago. You weren't 20. You were literally, like, 30. No judgment. I'm just saying. She's wrong. She's wrong. You are not 20. But yeah, obviously she had to post and remind us. I haven't been on TikTok, but her profile photo was changed twice, and there was several times I noticed she was deleting videos. So I don't know why she's lying and pretending she hasn't been on when she's been on. We don't care if you've been on or not, girl. If you want to, go through TikTok, scroll, do it, whatever. I don't know why she's pretending she doesn't do it when you have. But whatever.
She wasn't spinning wild fantasies. She was orchestrating them. With precision. With confidence. And with a disturbing amount of emotional detachment. And here's where it gets even more chilling, these patterns weren't new. There are official records that date back to her early 20s, where she had eerily similar conversations with a different man named Dan. Different name, same exact behavior. The dominance. The tone. The control. She wasn't exploring. She wasn't experimenting. She was repeating. Refining. Perfecting a pattern of manipulation that was never about trauma, it was about power. This wasn't confusion. This was deliberate. She wasn't learning from mistakes, she was rehearsing a role. From courtroom tears to breathy interviews to that soft girl influencer vibe she serves on TikTok, Gypsy has been carefully molding how we see her. But these emails? They didn't just contradict her story, they demolished it. No matter how many times she tries to pivot, no matter how many videos she films with carefully curated lighting and teary-eyed reflections, these messages speak louder. And what they're saying is louder than any TikTok trend she could hop on. But wait, it gets darker. In one email thread that left the internet collectively nauseous, Gypsy is seen financially dominating a 15-year-old fan. A child. A literal child. One who looked up to her so much, he called her goddess. And instead of stepping back, instead of setting boundaries, Gypsy leaned in. She encouraged it. She nurtured the power imbalance. She built a parasocial fantasy world where this teen felt obligated to send her $200 a month. And no, this wasn't during a time when Gypsy was desperate for money. She had steady income, royalties from her book, payments from documentaries, and financial support from her husband, Ryan. She didn't need that child's money. But she took it anyway. Not out of necessity, out of control. And when those payments came in late, she didn't let it go. She sent guilt-laced messages. Manipulative reminders. Subtle jabs that made it clear, this wasn't a fan supporting someone they admired, this was emotional extortion, masked as affection. And the way she executed it? With chilling ease. She was practiced, she was comfortable. She knew exactly what she was doing. But babe, that's not even the full story. In more private emails, Gypsy spoke about her then-husband, Ryan, with a dismissiveness that made people's skin crawl. She admitted, coldly, that she wasn't physically attracted to him. Said he was sweet, but not desirable. She laid it out, she married him only so she'd have a place to go after prison, not out of love. Not for support. It wasn't a partnership. It was a strategy. A calculated move to secure a stable exit, and one that fit nicely into her redemption storyline. She turned a marriage, something sacred and deeply personal, into a transactional stepping stone. A prop. And just when you think she couldn't be any colder, the final twist hits like a punch to the gut. While her father Rod was cheating on his longtime partner Christy, Gypsy wasn't some neutral bystander. Christy, who had trusted Gypsy, confided in her. She opened up to her. She believed Gypsy was a safe space. But behind the scenes, Gypsy wasn't just staying quiet, she was stoking the flames. She was encouraging Rod's infidelity. Quietly, subtly, helping him lie while smiling in Christy's face. That's not a mistake. That's not a youthful misstep. That's two-faced orchestration of betrayal. That's emotional warfare with a smile. And yet, when all of this started to come out, when the truth started boiling over, Gypsy did exactly what she's always done, she pivoted. She didn't take accountability. She played the trauma card. She tried to reframe the story again. She posted a video, soft voice trembling, asking people how they'd feel if their personal diary got leaked. But here's the truth, these weren't private journal entries, these weren't stolen thoughts from a locked notebook. These were emails. Sent willingly. Many of them through monitored prison systems. She knew eyes could be on them. And the worst part? She had no problem leaking other people's private messages when it suited her. She exposed Nick's emails to the world, painting him as a monster. She dragged Ryan's name through the mud when she was done with him. She threw Christy under the bus without hesitation. Privacy only mattered when she was the one being exposed. And now that the mask is slipping? Now that her own carefully curated version of reality is cracking under the weight of her own words? She's panicking. She's guilt-tripping. She's recoiling. Buried between the controlling emails, the manipulative threads, the cold, calculated exchanges, were nicknames. Little pet names that, at first glance, seemed odd. But the more you read, the more they morphed from strange into something deeply unsettling. They weren't playful. They weren't endearing. They were inappropriate, almost sickly intimate, leaving readers with a creeping sense of dread. These weren't just awkward lines from a misunderstood woman, they were clear, intentional cues in a disturbing game of blurred boundaries. And when people brought them up, hoping for answers, hoping for some form of accountability, Gypsy didn't explain. She didn't apologize. She laughed. That chilling, casual laugh, brushing it off like it was nothing more than a quirky joke. Another deflection. Another red flag swept under the rug. And just like clockwork, she rolled out the script. The tired monologue about growth. About evolving. About being a work in progress. She spoke, again, about imperfection as if it were a blanket excuse for calculated choices. But here's where it gets impossible to ignore the double standard. If Gypsy is so hellbent on preaching growth, why doesn't she extend that grace to anyone else? Why does she continue to demonize Nick Gojon at every turn? Why does she paint him as a static monster frozen in time while insisting that she be seen as a layered, transformed woman? That's not just hypocrisy. That's manipulation at its finest, because the real danger isn't just in the lies themselves, it's how effortlessly they pour from her lips. How they drip with just enough tremble, just enough faux sincerity, to make you question your own memory. Your own gut. She doesn't tell lies, she embodies them. They're baked into her identity. Molded into every pause, every teary stare, every innocent blink. And that's what's so devastating. What was once a story of trauma and transformation, a tale of survival, of second chances, has twisted into a haunting cycle of contradictions. She disappears from social media, claiming peace, claiming detox, only to resurface days later with rehearsed clarity, perfectly lit videos, and yet another repackaged explanation. She says she's unbothered, but jumps to defend herself the moment the narrative slips out of her hands. What we're watching isn't growth. It's spin. It's not healing, it's performance art, so now we're left with a question that's impossible to shake. One that gnaws at the edges of this whole glittery redemption arc: is Gypsy Rose Blanchard truly evolving, or is this just the next act in a disturbingly long-running show? Is this the real her, or simply the latest costume change in a play that's been playing out since the courtroom? Because what she's showing us now isn't just a woman trying to move on, it's a woman who's rehearsed. Who's prepared. Who knows exactly how to manipulate the spotlight. And if you're still holding on to hope that this is about redemption, ask yourself, why does the truth always seem to leak against her version of events? Why do the receipts never match the script? Let us know in the comments. Is this truly a story of healing? Or are we just watching Gypsy's most dangerous performance yet, one email leak at a time? Hit subscribe, because in the world of Gypsy Rose, nothing stays buried forever.